and roller. Go blue, stand up, get your hands in the sky. O to the D-line, come on, get behind. The home team, somebody scream. Go blue, come catch the feeling. Reach for the ceiling, cause we getting that banner and we'll hang it up high. Scream for the home team, new rings and trophies. Go blue, go Colts, go blue, go Colts. You wanna rock, you wanna roll, we gonna win it, the Super Bowl. Let's go. You wanna rock, you wanna roll, we gonna take it, the Super Bowl. You saw that comeback, you saw the drive. Tony D on the side, we got the pride.
Hello everyone, and I just wanted to make you guys all aware that it has been 3 weeks since I have done a Bleed Bloody Blue podcast. I've been very busy with finals coming up pretty soon, and then Thanksgiving break coming up, organizing stuff in terms of that. I can actually tell you that I did watch a lot of the Colts game today. I'll make this very short and sweet, but I do want to thank you all for your patience and understanding. It has been a hard 3 weeks for me, especially given the fact that I am about to graduate from college here pretty soon, and I'm just trying to get roadblocks. I'm trying to avoid all roadblocks and trying to get myself stable so we can have a good 2025 next year. And no, nothing is wrong with me. It's just more I'm just trying my best to graduate school and do all that stuff. So I really do thank you all for your patience. Cinderella Slippers podcast will be coming out on Tuesday, and then I will have a lot of time on Thanksgiving break to record episodes. So I'm hoping I can do that then. But I do thank you all for your understanding. And I wanted to just talk briefly about the Colts and the Jets after this intro coming up next. Welcome everyone to Bleed Bloody Blue. Again, I thank you all for your patience. It's been a hard 3 weeks. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to keep everything in order, stable, that sort of stuff. Colts won a great game today. We will get more into that in a minute. But I would love to say that I've been a fan of this team for a very long time, yet have had more responsibilities than I've ever had in a long time. And I'm doing my best. I'm recording this around 10 at night. And I am doing my best. Nothing bad has been happening to me recently. It's just been more trying to get school organized and that sort of stuff. And finding the time to record a podcast. That's been very hard to do right now. And like I mentioned in the beginning, the Cinderella Slippers podcast is going to be up on wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. And it will be available for all to hear, all to listen to. And we got a lot to talk about today with the Indianapolis Colts. But the Cinderella Slippers newsletter has actually been publishing 2 articles so far. So I am proud of that. And I'm hoping that can continue throughout the rest of the season. And that I don't hold back on those promises. One thing I will tell you is that your college has been a real whirlwind for me. And my organizational skills were complete junk. And still are complete junk. So I do apologize about that. Speaking of the game today, the Indianapolis Colts beat the New York Jets 28-27, where Anthony Richardson really pulled off one of the best late game plays that I have seen out of a quarterback recently. He's back, he's here, he's ready to rumble and tumble in the league, and I believe he is going to come back strong. It's only week 1, but this quarterback play is not good. It was not a good win. It was a clean win at the end. We were able to win fairly, and Anthony Richardson ran the ball all the way for a touchdown, drove the ball down the field, big pass near the end. But the Colts were able to get it done 28-27 over the New York Jets, who, I hate to say this about today felt like a garbage game. It did. It felt like a big garbage game, and I felt like the game was sloppy at times. It wasn't polished. It wasn't clean. It wasn't good. Both teams struggled at points. Both teams kept it very close. It was kind of what we expected for the Colts, but not what we expected for the Jets, as the Jets look terrible. They look terrible, and they need a Bill Parcells or somebody to get Lou Holtz, which I finally got the guy, Robert Saleh, who to me reminded me a lot of Lou Holtz when he used to coach over at the Jets. Many of you that are too young to understand what all that Jets teams were back then. The Jets used to be a perennial powerhouse. Still won our title back from 1969, you guys. And not only was that a major issue going into the past, but Lou Holtz was able to then lead a team that had won the Super Bowls so many years before and lead them into mediocrity. They had not and still haven't won a title since 1969 and will continue to lose. They were terrible today. Aaron Rodgers looked bad today, and so did that whole offense. But Breece Hall was kind of the bright spot that entire team needed. And so I believe the Jets played fair, not strong, not fit. And I think Aaron Rodgers, to me, looked like a really good quarterback out there. But everybody else sucked. Everybody else sucked. And like I said, that game today against the Jets was not polished, as I mentioned before in the opener. It wasn't sweet, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't polished, it wasn't pure. It really was a down and not really dirty game in terms of ethics, but dirty game because of the fact that we had a lot of also blown calls in that game too. It was really just watching two really bad teams go at it, but the Colts still gained playoff position because of this. And Josh Downs has played so well, and I'll get to the Colts here in a minute. But I do want to say the Jets are terrible. The Jets are one of the worst teams in all of the NFL right now, besides the Carolina Panthers. And you would have been making the case to me a few years ago saying that around this time the Washington Commanders would have been the worst team. But since they got Jaden Daniels and since they were climbing back, I believe that team is a perennial powerhouse in the playoffs. And if Anthony Richardson can keep doing what he's been doing, AR is going to do a really good time. We're going to have a really good time, and we will go to the playoffs and be in the hunt. But this has got to be consistent. I am concerned about next week. Very concerned about next week. We're going to lose to the Lions. I can just feel it. I know it. I know my Hoosiers are going to lose to the Ohio State Buckeyes. I feel it. I know it. It's just a part of what's happening, what's been going on that team. And I believe the Hoosiers, if we could face them against the Colts, they'd beat them. I really do think so. Anthony Richardson isn't polished, but I do feel like there's some spots in that offensive line. Sorry, it's late. It's really a point of emphasis to know that Josh Downs has been a really good wide receiver. Jonathan Taylor's been a good runner. And we've had a lot of wide receiver depth more than we have in recent years. But nothing to the point of course, as many of you remember, including myself, Marvin Harrison, and Peyton Manning, and Reggie Wayne, and all the... It's not that. It's just we are better on the wide receiver end than we are almost the offensive line. The quarterback play today was really good by Anthony Richardson. Not fresh, but really, really good. Anthony Richardson was 20 of 30 for 272 yards and 1 touchdown. And when I was mentioning the wide receivers, I mentioned that Alec Pierce and Josh Downs were both really good players today. Both caught a combined total of about almost 174 yards around there. And Josh Downs played great. Alec Pierce played great. Pittman needs to improve, and Mo Alley-Cox needs to improve. But of course, we at least got the dub today. That's all I have to say on that end. But it was close. It was really close. It was really gritty. And I would say Anthony Richardson's late play at the end, with all the criticism about him and all the ups and downs and all the lefts and rights. Defense played really good today too, but through all of the trials and errors that this team's been through, Anthony Richardson finally played, well, it was not clean, but it was a really good game. He played a clean game, and I'm just happy about it. I'm happy he finally got the monkey off his back, and he's been able to perform right now because he really wasn't at the start of this season. And I will say that the New York Jets don't even compare to this guy because Aaron Rodgers is very washed up, and you could tell by his play today. But Anthony Richardson, if he could just play like this consistently, next week against the Lions, and I'll get more into that in a minute, that Lions game is going to be the real test for the Indianapolis Colts. Can we upset Detroit in Detroit? And can the Lions, are they going to lash at us or are they going to growl at us? It's a matter of those two evils because Detroit is the top team in the NFC. They just won huge today, Jacksonville Jaguars. They have probably one of the best offensive lines in all of football. They have the best coach in all of football besides Andy Reid. And not only that, but the Detroit Lions are one of those teams that, yeah, you would have been talking to us years ago, and we would have beaten them on Christmas or on Thanksgiving. And it really would have been a situation where we would have beaten them then and still ran away with a large turkey. But we didn't. And I don't think we will in this matchup, as we will describe more about the league and everything else after that. After this sponsor, we will then go into more detail about how the Colts and Lions game will be, but I will actually start that here in just a few minutes as we also talk about that in the NFL right after this. Word from our sponsor.
This video or podcast is sponsored by Amazon Music. Thousands of podcasts and shows are made every day, from the conversations of Joe Rogan to the crimes of Morbid, and music by 50 Cent and Sabrina Carpenter. Amazon Music has the right taste in music, podcasts, and shows for you. With a growing audience of 52.5 million people using Amazon Music every day, you can help in a contributing way to benefit this new version of what was once called radio. With thousands of music and podcasts to listen to, you can listen to our podcast too, keeping things in the middle. And with you signing up, listening to one of our episodes on your app or on your computer, you can help my podcast grow to become an ever-expanding podcast group and become a new member of our listening on Amazon Music. Please use our offer down in the description below, and it would help me a lot because it would help me earn a little bit of money. Amazon Music, the site where you need to go to listen to podcasts, stories, and music that may have you bopping the whole night through. Now, let's get to the show.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bleed Bloody Blue. As we mentioned before, we are on YouTube, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We are on there. We took a 3-week hiatus due to school and finals week and that sort of stuff. So we're back to posting a lot of our original content again. And I did want to mention that the Cinderella Slippers newsletter is out on LinkedIn. The link will be down in the description below. And we will have an episode coming out on Tuesday because of the fact that I am having school. But if that gets pushed to Thursday, I will also make you aware that it could be Tuesday or Thursday when I am posting that schedule pending. But I am planning Tuesday. But again, the Cinderella Slippers LinkedIn page has all of the recent articles, including one about the University of Kentucky and their big win against Duke last week. And I will mention more about college hoops as the week goes on. But make sure you subscribe to that newsletter on LinkedIn down in the description below. You can also subscribe to my newsletter on Substack. We haven't been publishing much there either because I have been finishing school. It is called the Bear-Man Journal with Braydyn Lents, and that has been on shelves on Substack. And we will post more about that. Planning to change the model a little bit, or maybe start a brand new newsletter altogether. Still trying to figure that out. But this newsletter talks about all the stories I've been covering in school, anything that's on my mind, and opinions. So make sure you follow on that, and make sure you subscribe to those two newsletters, the Cinderella Slippers LinkedIn newsletter and the Bear-Man Journal newsletter. And we will talk to you more about that in the coming weeks. But podcasts are also going to be released on Tuesdays and Mondays, sometimes Sundays and Mondays. So make sure you look out for those podcasts as well. We will start a brand new podcast coming up very soon. And the Minecraft football podcast will be coming out soon as well. So back to the game. Of course, the Lions, they are a strong team as mentioned, but I think they'll win big over the Indianapolis Colts in Detroit, and I do not believe the Colts are going to win that game. But as I mentioned to you, they're going to be at Lucas Oil Stadium. My corrections. They are going to be at Lucas Oil Stadium and we're gonna be playing them at home. So I apologize about that if I got that information wrong, which I did, and that was my fault. So we have, believe it or not, we have 6 more games left. Yeah, 6 more games left. And we play the Patriots after the Lions on December 1st. Then we play the Broncos at Denver on December 25th at 4:25 p.m. Then we play the Titans, Giants, and Jags. So for the rest of these last 6 weeks of the NFL season, can you believe time flies, first and foremost? The 6 weeks that we have left of the NFL season before the playoffs begin, we have our last bit of a hard team that we need to face, and that's the Detroit Lions. But then we play the Patriots, who are bad. The Broncos have been up and down. They're more like the Bears, where they're just constantly up and down. And then we got the Titans, who are terrible. We'll beat them. Giants will beat them. And the Jaguars would be an interesting matchup. I believe we can beat them and still get payback for what happened last year in the playoffs. So I believe that's going to be a very interesting schedule as the league goes on and as the season goes on. But again, this does not sound like a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. And it's going to be a cakewalk as we get to the playoffs and see who the projected playoff picks will be as we reach that plateau. The best story of the football season probably ever was today when the Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs. What a game, first of all. What a game. And the Bills finally got it done. If this was a playoff game, I would be way more excited than right now. By a long shot. By a long shot. They won 30-21 today. And they had a live crowd with NFL on CBS. And I thought that was really interesting. I need to do more of that. But the Bills finally got it done against the Chiefs. They're 3-4 against the Chiefs all time as soon as Mahomes has been playing basically in the league. They are incredible this season. If the Bills, who I believe could clinch the AFC East just by how things are going, the Bills was probably the best story today, and the Chiefs finally lost a game. They finally lost a game. And yes, that's rare for them to lose a game. And I love it. As an NFL fan, I don't like Taylor Swift. I don't like Travis Kelce. They're just the whole thing is just bad. But I don't even like the Chiefs because they're completely overrated. And they finally got a loss. And Don Shula, where are you, Don Shula, in heaven? You're smiling, saying, this record's always going to be mine. 1976 Indiana Hoosiers can say the same thing. Because we can say the same thing. And say, hey, we have an undefeated team too, so we understand. The Bills will go 9-2 on the year. And it's been fun to watch those Bills-Chiefs games in the last 4 to 5 years. They've been very entertaining. And it always seems to go, not really one side over the other, but the Chiefs never crumble. If this were the playoffs, if this was an AFC Championship game, this would be hands down one of the greatest AFC Championship games ever played. Specifically because the Bills finally did it. The greatest upset in NFL history would have finally happened. And we don't have to deal with those pesky Chiefs. Like I said, the Bengals were also a great story when they did it back in 2021-22. They were an amazing team, beat the Chiefs, and ended up going to the World Super Bowl and losing, but they finally did it. They finally got the monkey off their back. Look at the New York Yankees this year. They finally got the monkey off their back, even though they lost. And I think the same way can be done throughout most of the league. But today, another great game was the Bears and Packers. Packers won 20-19. And what was a really bad game for the Bears. The Bears are just snake bit. They are snake bit. And ever since that loss against the Washington Commanders on Hail Mary by Jaden Daniels, it's been nothing but a mess. It's been a mess for that franchise. And they're not going to do well as we finish the season off. And they're not going to finish well as it's one of the most sneak bit franchises in all the NFL. Missed a field goal, doink doink, against the Eagles. and then you get trade after trade, and you can't get anything done. Matt Eberflus is cursed. Kevin Warren, I knew this from his whole time on the Big Ten commissioner. He was terrible as a commissioner. He's even more terrible as an owner. And so he will do everything. If this were the 2020 season and the Ohio State Buckeyes and IU were to continue to play today, Ohio State would win. They get the playoff spot. They play against Oregon and beat them big. That's how it was with Kevin Warren. But who would they face? They wouldn't have faced Oregon. They would have faced who his favorite team was like. Let's say Northwestern was good, which they were that season. Northwestern, IU, or Northwestern Ohio State, perfect match for him. Perfect. He loves that. He'll just eat it up. That's how he was like in the Big Ten. That's how he's like now as the owner of the Chicago Bears. And I will say that the Bears, it wasn't really their fault on the missed field goal. It's just they're very snake bit. And I know I keep saying that, but are they going to be like the White Sox and just sell the team up to that point? I believe they could. I believe they really could, because these Bears, no one wants to actually see the Bears play this atrocious. But the tragic part is you got two of the best young players from college out, like Caleb Williams, just out there trying the ball out with horrible management. It's almost like you bring, I don't know, Juan Soto from the Yankees to the White Sox. It's not going to make a fix overnight. It's not even going to fix itself overnight. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of practice to get to that point. Like I said, Shohei Ohtani didn't just start playing for a pretty good baseball team and play so well that they could go to the World Series and win it. He played on one of the worst teams in all of Major League Baseball and then became the perennial powerhouse that everybody loved him to be. And he would have won a championship out of all of it. So can Caleb Williams play on a bad team, get traded, and go somewhere else? That's my question that I have for all of the Bears management, not just the Chicago Bears themselves, because it would be very crucial to see something like that happen and to really reflect on what we can do. And I think that'd be very important to really get that done and hammered as soon as they can, because it's more than just draft picks. I'll save that team. It's ownership and leadership that can really line the path for the future. The other games in the NFL today were really, just to say the least, I thought this week would be one of the more boring weeks. It wasn't. Right now, the Los Angeles Chargers, led by the great Jim Harbaugh, who could go to a playoff game this year, by the way, beating the crap out of the Bengals 24-6. And then in terms of other games from around the league, the Eagles beat the Commanders 26-18 on Thursday night. Dolphins beat the Raiders 34-19. The Raiders are terrible. Then Saints-Browns was 35-14. The Browns were another really bad team this year that was really good last year. And talk about these Minnesota Vikings. They don't have hardly any depth defensively. They're playing so well offensively with Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. It's insane. It is insane to see how good this team is. They beat the trash Tennessee Titans 23-13. Packers, as we mentioned, beat the Bears 20-19. Shout out to Caitlin Gill. Lions beat literally breezed our way over the Jaguars 52-6. The Rams beat the Patriots 28-22, which they should have done several years ago. The Steelers, in another great game today that came down to the wire, the Steelers beat the Ravens 18-16. The 49ers would lose again, and the Seahawks can survive with a playoff hunt and still be in the running to possibly go to the wild card, with the final score of 20-17 over the 49ers, shocking everybody in San Francisco. The Broncos torched the Falcons today 38-6, with, of course, Bo Nix being the story of the day, throwing 28 of 33 for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. Can you imagine if Russell Wilson would have done that last year? It's insane. And as we mentioned earlier, the Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21. And the Chargers actually have gone up by a score again. They're leading 27-6 on Sunday Night Football. And Cincinnati got a turnover on downs. And then tomorrow should be a really interesting matchup because it's going to be really interesting. As we're recording this will be posted on a Monday. But look at this. It's the Cowboys and the Texans. And as the Texans go out and play their game, they are going to be facing against the Cowboys, who are really bad this year. They are really, really bad this year. And as the one song said, they've taken a lot of Louis belts straight to the butt. And they just want to win on Monday Night Football, of all things. And they will play tomorrow on ESPN. You'll probably get an IU reference by Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Just want to finish off this episode today by mentioning those scores, brought to you by Amazon Music. Amazon Music provides a new list of holiday special playlists that are going to be going on throughout the week. In the next month or so, you can buy a subscription and I can earn a little bit of money if you just go to the following link down below at Amazon.com. Amazon is your one-stop shop for all music and sports, and not only that, podcasts, music, and even Christmas playlists. So go on down to AmazonMusic.com and use the promo code in the description below to navigate your way through the site. Amazon Music, the site where you need to go to watch movies, podcasts, and listen and bop the whole night through. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode. This is Braydyn Bear-Lents, your host of Bleed Buddy Blue. My apologies on the 2-week hiatus. That will be resolved, and I think everything will be back to normal as we wrap up the final end of this semester, as I'm about to graduate in 3 weeks. And go Colts. As we finish off by saying that, and have a good day, everybody. Go
Yeah! Yeah! Stand up! Indianapolis! Stand up! Ha! Go blue! Ha! Go blue! Come on! Go blue! Stand up! 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 Go blue! Come on! Colts Super Bowlers! Dome rock and roller! Go blue! Stand up! Get your hands in the sky! O to the D-line! Come on, get behind! The home team! Somebody scream! Go blue! Come catch the feeling! Reach for the ceiling! Cause we getting that banner and we'll hang it up high! Scream for the home team! New rings and trophies! Go blue! Go Colts! Go blue! Go Colts! You wanna rock? You wanna roll? We gonna win it! The Super Bowl! Let's go! You wanna rock? You wanna roll? We gonna take it! The Super Bowl! You saw that comeback! You saw the drive! Tony D on the side!